Hello, welcome to another video for the Hogan Enterprises Hay and Equipment. My name's Sean Hogan. I'm the owner, and this video for this week is reshaping a Roundpen. This is actually our personal Roundpen for my wife and her horses, and we had several issues that led us to the decision to reshape it, resize it, try and make it better. For one, it was kind of an oddball size and was difficult to work horses in because of its size. I guess typically most round pens are a 30-foot circle, and this was more like an 80-foot oval. So we were shrinking it down, which also solved another issue in that some areas the footing was really thin, and in some areas the footing was really thick. So we also tried to redistribute the footing as best as we could to make it even throughout the whole thing. Another thing too, the footing in it currently is beach sand, which is not ideal, and as you can see there's a fair amount of vegetation growing in it. We did not install this, it was on the property when we bought it, and it's something that we've just kind of been struggling with, and so we're working to try and make it a little better bit by bit. The next step will probably be to actually replace the footing with a more suitable material. But for the time being, just getting it to a more appropriate size, getting the footing a more appropriate depth, should be a huge improvement over what it was currently, or what it was previously, I should say. So I'm basically pushing in all the extra material to get it inside the new dimensions of the round pen once we close it back up, using the Bobcat T66. The reason I'm blading it the way I am is back there in the back, I'm cutting it flat because I'm cutting it to grade because I don't want it to become a low spot for water, but I also want to get as much of the sand and material off the ground as possible. So hopefully in the spring we can maybe plant some grass in that area and make it more of a yard. So when I push into the heavier material, I'm setting grade for the final grade where I want it. I'm blading it out flat. The reason that I am dumping, kind of spreading it as I go forward, is because I don't just want piles of sand or footing. I want it to be flat and level. So as you see, I come up, and then once I hit the grade that I want, I'm leveling off. I'm pushing material over here because right in front there is a low spot. So I'm carrying extra material because the far side was the deep side and the near side was the low side. But you can see as we come up and then push flat, and then I'm just carrying the grade to try and make it level all the way across. So one of the reasons that the beach sand is not an ideal footing is that it is when it's wet, it compacts, and when it's dry, it's very soft, just like walking on a beach. Both extremes are not good for horses, for their feet when they're running, jumping, trotting, things like that. If it's wet, then it's compacting, which is hard, and then when it's dry, it's very soft. So like I said, more improvements to come. This was all from the previous owner, we assume is who originally put this in, but we'll continue to chip away at it and make it better little by little. If you're tuning in, thank you. If you can like, subscribe, share with your friends, that would be great. If you have questions, comments, feedback, things you want to see, things I can do better, please let me know in the comments. I try to check to see comments or questions, things of that nature, at least once every day or two. So with this, we are mostly getting the material flattened out, trying to get the low spots, get the high spots down. It's a lot of repetitive movements back and forth. But the nice thing about the Bobcat is because it's with the tracks and it has the grade controls, the float controls, it's great for this kind of work. I mean, that thing, I've ran bulldozers, and I would say a bulldozer of the same size would probably actually not be an equal. I would think that the Bobcat would actually outperform a bulldozer of the same size and power. It does a great job pushing in the materials and moving materials. Once you get the knack for it, it's great for grading and finishing. So I've been very happy with the Bobcat. This is the kind of stuff that the Bobcat excels at, that our case tractor would have made a mess out of trying to do this. It would have been good for basic loader work. It could have moved the bulk material pretty easily, but it's very hard to do fine grading and fine adjustments and leveling with the tractor. With the Bobcat, the controls are so much finer. The machine's more balanced. You can see the bucket. It's literally right in front of you, so you can basically see in real time what's happening, make adjustments. So yeah, just all around, I'm super happy with this machine and the amount of work that we can accomplish and the amount of work that it can do and what it's capable of. Plus, having heater and air conditioning and a stereo never hurts. So there we go. We're getting back into some of what we would call roughing it in. You're basically just bulking out the majority of the material, just getting it moved, getting it down to grade. And then once you get down to grade, that's when you start doing the final grade and the fine tuning and the minor adjustments and things like that. But we're also having issues with the far end, just on the other side of that outer panel. On the far side is a ditch, the ditch that runs along the entire side of our property. In the wintertime, it's a raging river. The panels in their current position are like maybe 2 feet off of that and probably getting smaller every year. So another issue we're having is that the Roundpen slowly getting ate up and getting closer into that ditch. So we also wanted to move that panel line away from that and make a little more room. Also, it makes it hard to manage the vegetation behind there because there's no way to get in there really with anything. So there was a number of reasons. It was finally time. The material is getting put into this renewed or reshaped section. It's still a little thick for traditional footing for round pens. But right now, this time of year, the weather and the ground is wet enough that I can't really pack this material out into the area that I would pack it into to get rid of it for fill, which is the outdoor arena, which is directly adjacent to this. But this time of year, it's way too wet and there's no way to get out there. So for now, the material is just getting moved into the round pen. And then my guess is in the coming year, once we figure out how much is too much and exactly how much we want to reshape, we will take some of this material back out of the round pen and put it into the outdoor arena. This is my second attempt at speeding up videos and voiceovers. Hopefully it's, I feel so far it's an improvement over the first one. But we're getting down towards the end. And yeah, you can just kind of see how you're able to just carry that bucket right along and make it flat, smooth, fill in the low spots. The previous owner laid what I believe is some sort of fabric underneath. So that's the black pieces of stuff that you're seeing. It's not plastic. It's more like a felt material, like maybe like garden fabric. Any of it that we could find and any of it that we could see, we did pull out and pick out and dispose of. But I'm sure there's a lot more. My guess is that was probably to keep the dirt from coming up through the sand, which may or may not have worked. Some parts you can clearly see it's still sand, and some parts look pretty much like dirt. All of it grows vegetation, which is not something sand typically does, so I'm sure there's a fair amount of contamination in it. So that'd be another good reason to upgrade the footing. and starting to work that far edge over right by the ditch. The next clip coming up will have be specifically us working that edge and getting that out of the way. There are a couple of wooden posts. Yep, there's the switch. There were a couple of wooden posts on this side. We went ahead and took those out, but you can see the edge of the round pen was right up against that. So we didn't want the ditch to erode into our round pen. We didn't want the round pen to erode into the ditch. We wanted to be able to get behind the panels, to mow the grass, to do anything back there really, and we currently couldn't. The previous owner, I think, used pressure treated lumber to maybe make the edges of the round pen to kind of keep it, maybe keep the sand in. That's, you can see that's clearly not effective. So we've been finding some pressure treated wood. Right now I'm just bulking out this edge to get it moved, so I'm not really leveling or blading. Yeah, we're right at, like, basically right there. That's right at the edge, so you can just tell how close it really is. Something else we've been wanting to do. Another reason we moved it on the other side, closest to the barn. This gave us a little more room because there's a pathway that goes between the round pen and the barn that we sometimes have to take vehicles through or trailers through, due to the size and just how easy it is to get around our property. And so moving the round pen also helped open that up a little more and made it easier to get around. And there's another piece of pressure treat. Fun as always. And then this is the end.